going to wait, brothers and sisters, until the others get a chance to get in here. I'd like to say unto you, assalamu alaikum. Happy to be here. And I'm happy to be able to deliver this message. And wait for the other brothers and sisters getting here. We're starting off a little late. Nonetheless, we're happy to be here. Very happy to be here to deliver a necessary message that we have this day. As we lean to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and what he teaches us for this day and time. So we're going to be talking about that. What Muhammad has for us in this day and time. We're certainly going to be talking about it. And also, while we waiting for the information to get in, we want to be accurate in what we cover. Certainly want to be accurate in what we cover. I believe that we're live. Seems that we're live. So I'll check the system again. It does seem that we're live. So now that we know that we're in we're live and in the right frame, we'll continue on with our lesson today. We've been having trouble with the internet for one reason or another, the weather, and had some destruction to our main line. So we weren't able to use the internet to do anything concerning the show. So we had to put it back. Normally, the show would have been carry on about 7:30, but we had to put it back to 10:30 to make sure that we were getting a good feed, and to make sure that we were certainly getting some good lessons, toward everything that was going on. Nonetheless, we're here, ready to run the show, to make sure that we're getting some important message out during this hour of Ramadan, because we're coming to the hour of Ramadan. You'll notice there are many Muslims and Christians that are around fasting around this time, to make sure that we're girded for the month of Ramadan, but also making sure that our annual prayer and supplication is up to par prior to us celebrating Ramadan, and how we're organized this time as it relates to the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. As you know, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad has been played. We feel that he's, irregardless of his trek, and irregardless of what you hear under the Muslim movement, every Muslim I know regards him as a very powerful, headstrong, and righteous brother, standing up for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the same way that we do the Honorable Minister Malcolm X, who was standing up for righteousness under the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That is our history as Muslims. It's not something that we seek to put away, because we believe in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the prophets and ministers that have come under his teaching. And we believe in the evolutionary teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if I can say that these teaching, brothers and sisters, are not to be kept in a cage, but to go out abroad, so that brothers and sisters can see the effects of the teaching and what kind of effect that it has on the nationalist community, the black nationalist community, for the sake of this recording. And not only that, but what effects it have on the Black Christian Nationalist Network, which was led by Dr. Albert Queege, known as Augie Mama. So again, it's a privilege and honor to be teaching, to be given any kind of explanation for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I'm thankful, so very, very thankful to be here. And brothers and sisters, I tell you, I'm going to do something because I don't feel comfortable myself without my coat. So I definitely want to put my coat on because right now I feel naked. I don't feel that I'm standing before you right. I've got a good, clean, shaved face and a good appearance. I know that my conduct is in order, but I just feel naked if I don't have a coat on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this time to put on my coat, which is behind me. So if you just excuse me for a moment, I'll make sure that I do that. And we can start this off the right way. Okay. As you can see, I just put on my coat. I feel that I'm ready to come before you now because I have something on covering my shoulders. The very old teaching, not just as a Muslim, but teaching as a individual that come under a grandfather that was a very strong Christian minister who taught and led movement as the institutional Baptist minister under the teachings of the Garveyite, Marcus Garvey, and the institutional Baptist African movement. So the first African Baptist teacher that ran equivalent with Marcus Garvey. So he had that teacher. So now that I feel like that I'm properly dressed, I can come before you and do the teaching that I know is going to be beneficial to you. And again, I want you to forgive me for not having my jacket on. I did feel naked. I feel much better now for putting it on, and I appreciate your patience for allowing me to put it on so that I can stand before you the right way. Because I want to have the right feeling, and I feel like if I'm comfortable with the right feeling, that you will receive it in the right way. So I'm very thankful, very thankful. So I'm properly shaved now, properly clothed, so I'll be able to get this message out to you. Now, before we do that, as you know, I'm going to put together a practice site. We can always use your help, always use your help. So I want to make sure that I give adequate time to that for the African herbal science and medicine. So you'll be able to, you never know. You may not need it now, but you may need it later. But if you have it, no sense in going to the store to get cough syrup or pure honey, right, to do treatment. We give pure honey, pure cough syrup, pure lemon honey, pure strawberry cough syrup, which is made out of actual products, natural products, that you'll be able to take this and it will take care of anything that you're dealing with, including the common cold. So I use it, and it is very effective, and something that I push for individuals to use because I know that it works and it doesn't have a negative effect on the body. It doesn't have a negative effect on the body, and it's some stuff that we can use as a people to help us. So you'll see those things on the right in the column. These things are to help us. And we're going to certainly get better about the broadcast time. We're going to get so much better about that as I get myself together because we would like, for all of America to see us as we come on, all Black people. So whether you're in LA, whether you're in New York, when we come on, we want you to know that you have the right time so that you're able to come and listen to this great teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because this is the fall of America. And we want to be able to teach of the fall of America, right? What we have to look forward to. Now, in saying that, black people have got to get on the move. Isn't that right? We've got to be on the move, and we got to have a righteous life. We have to be on the move, and we got to have a righteous life to be able to head God's kingdom. He's not going to turn over his kingdom to a bunch of rabble rousers that are heathenistic, right? Because if you don't learn the right way, you don't learn God's way, then you'll end up going back. What did the children of Israel, what did it say about them? They ended up going back, didn't they? Didn't they end up going back? So we want you to be on the right move, right? We don't want you to just learn how to live. We want you to learn to eat to live, right? The teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we've got to, in this fall, we got to push these things forward. We got to push these things forward. The devil is not going to sleep, right? The devil is not going to sleep, and he's not going to stop because you're not ready in the morning. You got to be ready, brothers and sisters, right? We have to be ready, right? We have to be ready. When that train comes, right? The train of glory, isn't that right? When that train comes, or when the time comes, when God makes this change, we got to be ready. So we say, get your free vegetables, right? We want to eat to live. Get your fresh vegetables, right? Fresh veggies. I'm going to say veggies. And we have a site for that. Make sure we put that up so you can look on that site. It may be something that you can use. If not now, maybe later. We also have a business. You can set up a business. Certainly set up a business. An easy business to set up, an easy business to run. We need black people that have businesses. You can grab one of these and literally set up a business for yourself. So you don't have to be without employment, right? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to have employment, right? To create employment. So you don't have to be without employment. You don't have to be without employment, brothers and sisters. You can literally exist, not just survive, right? But exist, right? Living the proper life, living in the proper manner. When you look in the Bible and you see these individuals living, they are living righteous lives. It's not hard to live righteous. It's not hard for you to have independent business. You've got to work against the spirit of doubt, and you've got to move in faith and make these things come into being. You can make them come into being because you have the power. Excuse me. You have the power to do that if you stand in the power of God, right? The Almighty God, you can do these things. We need to be going to our own doctors, right? I know some of the doctors are working for the man, right? But I'm talking about natural doctors. We need natural doctors in the field. Is that right? Isn't that right? We need natural doctors in the field, so we have to have holistic practices. We have to have holistic practices, right? I put in all of that inside of the bar for you, so you'll get that information. There's no sense in us talking about we're liberated if we don't have independent businesses, sources that we can go to on our own. We're missing out. We don't understand what it means to be liberated if we're doing these things. We have no understanding of what it means. We have no understanding of what Black independence means. We have no understanding of what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad meant, right? We have no understanding of it if we're not being independent. So we put these things out not because we're begging. We want you to have it. We're very thankful to have these shops. We want you to have it. And you'll have a little piece of us. You have a little of us, right, to support everything that we're doing, right? We say support. You support us by buying our products. You'll spend money with Walmart and all these other places that don't give two rat tails about you, what you're doing, your existence, and they're not going to give you anything from it. At least give is for you, and it's for the benefit of you. The white man, this country, America, is built for whites for the benefits of whites. You, this country, is built against you. So you got to have a FUBU mentality, for us, by us. What do you mean by us? You know what I mean? Black people. Black people, for us, by us. And you have that. That's not racism. That's plain common sense, right? That's plain common sense that you will support yourself. You will support yourself, and that we're giving you the opportunity to do that. When you support us, you're supporting yourself. Why? Because we're putting our products for you. Putting our products for you. So I know that I want to put that up. Whatever you need, we have it. We have it. We've got a new thing where we've got for nationalism. Some of the women or sisters in the movement wanted to have some purses on set. We have purses now on set. We have female boots, paraphernalia, and things like that. For the sisters, when you out doing the work of Allah and you don't want to be wearing your Sunday's best, there's some other stuff that you can wear, right? When you're out there in the field, we know you like to be in style. So we've got the women pink combat boots, green combat boots with camouflage on them, red, whatever color you want. Pants, right? The pants, the loose fitting pants, right? That extend all the way down to the ankles. It turns into a skirt, right? So our sisters are dressed properly. So you've got clothing on to cover your bodies, sisters. We've got some extended pants that have a skirt around them. And we have the winter version and the summer version. And we have hijabs. We have everything to cover you. But it's a nice, stylish product. So when you go out, you can be in style, right? And still doing the work of Allah. You can be in style. We know some of the sisters, you all want to style now. Yeah, you can still dress properly and be in style and cover your whole body. Not have anything that's going to make you look unlike a sister of Muhammad or a sister of Allah, right? We want you to look like a Muslim sister, respectable and all of that. But we've got some boots if you want boots. We got sweaters. Isn't that right? If you want sweaters, we got that, right? We got it for you. If you want it, just go and send in the order or request what the order is. There's a lot of things on the site that's site is being redone. So there's some things that can be put back on there. But nonetheless, if you ask for what you want, we can send it to you in the email, a link that will have those things on there. So we have it, all right? And you go on any of the stations, the links that we send out to you, those things are on there. So we want you to know that we have some things that you want, right? And we're growing, we're perfecting it, we're getting better, right? As the time goes on, we're getting much better. So those other things that you want, if they're competitive, I guarantee you that we have those things. If we don't have it, we can get it, but it'll be respectable items. You won't have any of that half naked stuff on our sites. We don't encourage that, sisters. We don't encourage that, and you already know. But we give you dressing, right, that will transform you immediately and a hijab, right? So when you hear this message, that you're able to turn your life over, right? You might be living a wayward life right now. Many of you might be may not be respectful in your relationships or respectful in your marriage. But when you listen to these words that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad puts out and what he has us teaching you, then it will command respect. It'll make you respectable. It'll make you loyal to your husband. If you're a man, it'll make you loyal to your wife. If you're in a relationship, it'll make you loyal to one another for the direction of marriage. And we pray that you're in a relationship for the direction of marriage. And if you're not, we know that once you get under this teaching, that you'll be under a relationship for marriage, right? And we're talking about men and women. We don't support men and men in a relationship. I said, did you hear me, brothers and sisters? I said, we don't support men and men in a relationship, and we don't support women and women in a relationship, but we support men and women in a relationship, and we support them producing seeds and heirs to the teachings and the kingdom, so that when they grow up, they will have proper leadership, proper knowledge, and a proper example. And they'll ask the question, the simple question, just one question: what must I do to be saved? And if you believe in this knowledge, the only thing that we say to you is that if you believe in this knowledge and you want salvation, come on up and accept these teachings. And then we work you on into the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and get you a follower, an example to follow, a brother or sister that is responsible, that is living a life that's responsible for you. And you follow them and they'll lead you into a life of righteousness, because you can't be a Muslim and live any kind of old life. You can't be a Muslim, live any kind of old life. When you become a Muslim, you'll live a righteous life, and the best life that you can. And I want to explain what righteousness is. Righteousness is not perfection, right? Don't mean that you won't make mistakes, but your goal is to live a life that will be an example unto others and the best example unto you. And if you or your husband, or you or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, right, or whomever you're with, that's a man or woman, right, a male and female relationship, it will give you the pride and give you the intelligence in listening to the same message to want the same goal, and that's the salvation and liberation of Black people. Isn't that right? Financial salvation, the social salvation, the spiritual salvation, and the deliverance in all of the ways of Black people, so that you can build up our society and be positive in our society. If you want to stop crime, start teaching the Black man how to be an owner in his community, educate his mind, right? Fulfill his heart, and put him with a woman that is teaching correctly. Is that right? Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I know you understand. And we'll be able to cut crime out in the community. If you want to cut out prostitution, put a sister in front of that sister that will give her some dignity and respect, someone as an example and ensample, because that's the reason God put us here. You don't have to be a Muslim to teach that knowledge. You can be a proper example. I've seen many women living a holy and righteous life before they even came in the nation. But when they come into the nation, they come into the nation to help others, right? Isn't that right? And the sisters that have been on the outside, once they're changed, right, on the inside with this knowledge, then we know that they'll be able to lead others, right? Because if she's been on the streets, she knows that the streets don't have anything to give to our sisters, right? Or our brothers. Isn't that right? Many brothers that were drug dealers and ex-pimps are now inside of the Nation of Islam, inside of the movement of Allah, the movement of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and receiving the message of the Black man and the Black woman, right? Because the Black man means the Black nation, right? It means the Black nation, because no nation can rise any higher than its woman. Isn't that right? And we have to stay on the right road. We got to be on the right road. Stay on the right road. Don't get off of the right road, right? Don't get off of the right road. And it's a small road. It's a narrow road, right? Small and narrow, but stay on it. Because if you stay on that road, it'll lead you to salvation. Brothers and sisters, because of the order, we are bringing you, keep you into the 19th surah of the book of Miriam, which is in the Quran, the Holy Quran. And we're going to read Abraham and his father, Azar. We're going to read there, which is the 19th surah of Mary or Miriam. And at the 41st verse, we'll begin reading there. And we're going to sort of stay with this because we know in this this time setting or this dispensation, because we know that Easter is coming up, right? A lot of Black people serving Easter, you know, and Easter has nothing at all to do with the resurrection. Nothing at all, right? It's really a fertility time, right? It's really a time of fertility unto the goddess Diana. And you have these bunnies, right? Excuse me. We're going to get through this. You have these bunnies that are delivering eggs. You know a bunny don't have any eggs, right? But we want to teach you the right way. Teach you between the myth, right? You got to have truth. You got to have truth between the myth. And truth between the myth will teach you the truth. And that's our concern, is that you will be taught the truth between the myth, that you will get the truth. And this truth that you get will guide you on the righteous path. Isn't that right? So brothers and sisters, just want to read this, and then we're going to go try to get some understanding of where the foundation that we're coming from. Then after that, we're going to go on into the King James, and then Message to the Black Man, get our prayer going, and then we're going to go into our teaching, because we have a lot of ground to cover. Ramadan is coming up, and those of us that are in preparation are going to be probably preparing starting tomorrow, right, or midnight tonight, to organize our fast, right? And we should already be in prayer now. Should be organizing our prayer prior, about a month prior. Isn't that right? So we be in the right spirit, right frame of mind, right? And be acceptable to our God. So there was a warning that was given to disbelievers. So warning that was given to disbelievers. And I probably should start there. This also comes from the 19th Surah of Miriam, as it relates to the Holy Quran, and verse 39. As a matter of fact, I think I will study there, because that is the warning to the disbeliever, right? There's a lot of disbelievers out there that needs to be warned, that the day and the hour of what they know not is about to be upon us. And you know how it is when deliverance is about to happen. The children of Israel, when they were in bondage in Egypt, none of them knew at any time that Moses, the very Moses, the prince that was among them, because God would raise up leaders from among us, right? Did he not raise up Adam and Methuselah, right? He raised up Noah, raised up Jonah. All these leaders came up among the suffering people, right? No matter what those people were, right? If you were in Haiti, they raised up Desalegn, right? Right. So you no matter where you are, Garvey came from the area of Haiti. He comes over to this area, right, in America, and he was raised up. There's always someone among us. We had Malcolm to be raised up among us, Martin to be raised up among us, mighty leaders, Adam Clayton Powell, many leaders. The Honorable Coretta Scott King, the most honorable Sister Betty Shabazz, that was raised up among us, and many others that were raised up among us, that would stand up for liberty, stand up for justice, and stand up for righteousness. So, brothers and sisters, our desire and our prayer is that we will continue to teach, that others will be raised up among us, right? That others will be raised up among us. So the warning to the disbelievers coming from the 19th Surah of Miriam, according to the Holy Quran, the 19th Surah, and the 39th verse. And it reads on this wise: and warn them, O prophet, of the day of regret, when all matters will be settled, while they are engrossed in heedlessness and disbelief. Indeed, it is we who will succeed the earth, and whoever is on it, and to us they will all be returned. And mention the book, and this is the 41st, reading at the 41st now. And mention the book, O prophet, the story of Abraham, or Ibrahim. He was surely a man of truth and a prophet. Remember when he said to his father, O dear father, why do you worship what can neither hear nor see, nor benefit you at all? O dear father, I have certainly received some knowledge which you have not received. So follow me, and I will guide you to the straight path. O dear father, do not worship Satan. Surely Satan is ever rebellious against the most compassionate. O dear father, I truly fear that you will be touched by a torment from the most compassionate, and becomes Satan's companion in hell. He threatened, "How dare you reject my idols, O Abraham?" This is his father Azar's anger in response to Abraham in verse 46 of the 19th surah of Miriam in the Holy Quran. He threatened, how dare you reject my idols, O Abraham? If you do not desist, I will certainly stone you to death. So be gone from me for a long time. Abraham responded, "Peace be upon you." That's his way of saying Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. "I will pray to my Lord for your forgiveness. He has truly been most gracious to me, and I distance myself from all of you and from whatever you invoke besides God. I will continue to call upon my Lord alone, trusting that I will never be disappointed in invoking my Lord." So after he had left them, and when they worshiped besides God, he granted him Isaac and Jacob, and then made each of them, or Isaac and Jacob, or Yaakov, right? Whatever teaching you're speaking from, and made each of them a prophet. We showered them with our mercy and blessed them with honorable mention. The prophet Moses, 51st surah, as we continue. And mentioned in the book, O prophet, the story of Moses. He was truly a chosen man and was a messenger and a prophet. We called him from the right side of Mount Tur and drew him near, speaking with him directly. And we appointed for him out of our grace his brother Aaron as a prophet. 54th verse of the 19th surah of the Quran called Miriam. And mentioned in the book, O prophet, the story of Ishmael. He was truly a man of word and a messenger and a prophet, and he used to urge his people to pray and give alms tax, for his Lord was well pleased with him. And lastly, we'll read the 56th verse of the 19th surah of Miriam, the prophet Enoch's words. And mentioned in the book, O prophet, the story of Enoch. He was surely a man of truth and a prophet, and we elevated him to an honorable status. Those noble prophets, those were of some of the prophets who God has blessed from among the descendants of Adam, and of those we carried with Noah in the ark, and of descendants of Abraham and Israel, and of those we rightly guided and chose. Whenever the revelation of the most compassionate were recited to them, they fell down prostrated and weeping. Brothers and sisters, there's a way that we have to appear. It can't be the way of the world. It has to be the way and the teaching of God, how God would have us to fall down before him. Isn't that right? Because you have a lot of people that prostrate. It becomes something of a hypocrisy, because if you're not living a prostrated life physically, then you certainly can't prostrate physically. And if you're not in mental prostration, then certainly you cannot pray in the right spirit. That's something that you pick up annually. That's what the heathens do. Excuse me. That's what the heathens do. But we prostrate ourselves spiritually, prostrate ourselves psychologically, we prostrate ourselves emotionally, right? So that we'll be able to receive God in the fullness of time, right? In the fullness of our being. Is that correct? So we'll go to the King James Version and read the equivalent, because I know there are some people that are like, well, you didn't read anything from James. So we'll go to the equivalent of James, right? The equivalent of Miriam in the Old Testament, the Holy Quran. We'll go to the book of St. Luke. We'll read from there, right? because they talk about the law that was given, right? The adoration of Anna. We're going to start right there in Simeon, right? Because they blessed the prophets. So we want to have some understanding there. So we'll go for the Gospel of St. Luke, and we're going to read at the first chapter there, right? Then we're going to talk about this fall that's coming about. But I've got to build a foundation, got to get you in the right spirit. And this fall that is coming is going to fall away from God, right? This country is falling because, excuse me, brothers and sisters, is falling because it hasn't been dutiful unto God. It has not subject or predicated itself on God. It's gone wayward, right? In every direction but the right way. Wayward. All kind of directions but the right way. It's almost like when a bomb explodes. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? You got a bomb that explodes, it hits everything in the house. Everything in the house. So God, excuse me, brothers and sisters, I know that you understand. So that God, when God has inspired truth, when that truth explodes, it's exploding all over the house. The black man is like a bomb. It's like a powder keg when he hears truth. When he hears truth, the truth sanctifies him. And so God is going to turn the house over to us because he knows that if he don't change it, that powder keg will explode and destroy the entire house. But God's desire is that none would be lost and that all would be saved. But you got the wrong steward, right? You have some tutors that have stolen the key from the true keepers of the house of God. Those keepers are the black men and women around the planet. No matter what the country, these countries and these keys of these countries and continent were given to the black men and women of the planet. Yes, even Europe was named after the African Europa. That's how Europe got its name, from a black woman, Europa. And all you have to do is research it. All you have to do is research it, brothers and sisters. But we have to give the keys back. See, the keys has to be gotten back. We have to get out of the spirit of racism that the white man has put us in, because it's not the truth, it's an illusion, it's a lie. We know that white is not real, black is not real. These were created from the science of eugenics. So it's not even real, but it was created. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? It was created, and men chose a lie over the truth. Instead of believing in God and accepting death, right? They rather accept an illusion of life, right? And an illusion of the truth. When I say accepting death, I mean dying to ourselves. We have to die to ourselves and be rose up, incarnate in the power of God. Isn't that right? Not carnal, but incarnal in the power of God. And brother, there's no sense in us, sister, there's no sense in us being concerned about this stuff down here, because we can't take any of it with us. But we can live a righteous life and invest so that we'll be able to have some ownership and leave it in the hands of brothers and sisters that are being trained to carry on the work. And that's what we have to do. We have to carry on the work. So let me read this gospel according to St. Luke. Right? Let's give a little background scripture. The writer of the third gospel is called by Paul. Isn't that right? The beloved physician. St. Luke was a physician. Colossians, the reference for it is in Colossians, the 4th chapter and the 14th verse, I believe. And we learn from Acts that Paul was Luke's frequent companion. As a matter of fact, Paul and Barnabas, when they start out on their trip, and they're together, it's Luke that records this in the book of Acts. Luke is doing this recording, right? And the name is used, also another name is used, the name of Theophilus, one who studies and write in a godly manner, or student, right? Isn't that right? And so we learned that from Acts, Luke was Paul's frequent companion. He was the Jewish ancestry, so he was African. But his Greek marks, of which the Greeks were black as well. So you're talking about black people. I'm just giving you a good understanding because you can research and you find out that even Alexander, who was called white, was not really white. He was mulatto. He wasn't white. He wasn't white. And the rape of Alexander's mother, right? They had when the Europeans were literally going down and stealing people out of Africa to mate with them, to have ties to Egypt. And you have to understand that. That's very important for you to understand. And that's why he's trying to identify himself with Egypt today. Isn't that right? The white man at one time didn't even recognize Egypt as part of Africa, right? So then when he couldn't take Egypt out of Africa, then he tried to say that he was the original Egyptian. Isn't that right? But there was no such thing as an original Egyptian. There's such thing as a Comitian, right? The people of Kemet, isn't that right? Which are also attached to the children of Ethiopia, and those in Ethiopia that are attached to the children of Botswana, isn't that right? Kenya is attached to Ethiopia. Sudan, right? Isn't that right? And Sudan and Ethiopia were never taken, isn't that right? The two lands that were never taken because God allowed them to defend the invaders that were trying to take over. And you need to understand that the white man invaded everything about you, even your truth. He invaded that. The white man invaded even your truth. So you have to understand that. I just want to sort of tell you what's going on, so give you a good foundation that these are black people that we're reading about. When you read about the Jews, you're reading about Africans. You're reading about Africans. You read about Israel. You're reading about the Israel of Ethiopia. And all you have to do is research it. The original Israel and the tomb of Solomon, right, is in Ethiopia. Excuse me, the temple of Solomon is in Ethiopia. But you have to research. And I'm reading to give you the proper background because we're talking somewhere around 63 to 68 AD. And you still have a massive amount of black Greeks, right, black Jews, and they still exist today. Still exist today. The Egyptians are not real. This is a name and an insult to that part of Africa. But Kemet, the people of Kemet are still alive. They're still as black as ever, right? And they still live. All the Nubia, the nations that they talk about. When they talk about the Temple of Philae, of Philadelphia, these are African temples. The African version of that name is Philae, right? These are African temples, brothers and sisters. These temples are African. The white man is trying to get your history and repurpose it. Like when he say Carthage, he's talking about Libya. Is that right? Right. This is your continent and country that he's in. So let's go on back to the reading. I don't want to get too far off the subject, but the gospel according to St. Luke, and the writer of the third gospel is called by Paul. Paul recognized him as Luke. Paul was a black lawyer, right, and Jew, right, whose name was changed from Saul of Tarsus. Isn't that right? His name was changed from Saul of Tarsus to Paul. Luke was a beloved physician, and we learned that in Acts that Luke is a frequent companion of Paul. He was of Jewish ancestry, but his correct Greek marks as a Jew of the dispersion. Jew of the dispersion. Okay. The changing of guard. Changing of guard. Tradition said that he was a Jew of Antioch, and as Paul was of Tarsus, right? Remember we said Saul of Tarsus? That was Paul. The date of Luke falls between after the ascension, 63 to 68. So you had before dissension, right? BD or BC, before Christ. That's the way the Christians said before Christ, same thing. And then after dissension, right? After the dissension of Christ or after Christ, AC, right? And 63 to 68. 63 to 68. So this is in the first century. And the Luke is the gospel of the human divine one. Isn't that right? Displaying Jesus in his divine manner. So it's very important for you to know because Jesus said, as he is, we shall also be. Right? Isn't that right? He said, what I've done, you should do greater things. Ye are my brother. Who are my brothers and sisters? All of those who do the will of my Father. Why is all of this important when we talk about the fall of America, because these things have to be reestablished. First, it has to be reestablished in us as a people, and then it'll be reestablished in those who are receiving the truth, right, and practicing the same truth. The more people that are practicing the same thing, you create a community, you create a district, you create a state. Is that right? Right? That's how Israel got its state. That's how Africa got its continents. The tribes are practicing the same thing, and all the other tribes are practicing the same thing. Then they rose up as one people. Isn't that right? Then you get the ANC, the African National Congress, and so on and so forth. It builds and builds and builds. So Luke is the gospel of the human divine one, as John is of the divine one, right? And the key phrase is Son of Man. The key verse, that's St. Luke 19 chapter and 10th verse. For the Son of Man is come to seek and save that which is lost. In harmony with this intent, Luke relates those things concerning Jesus with to demonstrate how entirely human he was. That is someone from among us. Someone from among us, right? So this is somebody that we can see. It's not figurative, brothers and sisters. Somebody that we can see. Excuse me. Thank you. It's somebody that we can see. Nobody tell us about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We know that he was alive. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was alive. Isn't that right? He's somebody that was alive. He's somebody that was among us. God raised him up from among us. Martin Luther King, where did he come? From among us. Minister Malcolm, where did he come? From among us. These people that came from among us. So they're saying these were human, entirely human. His genealogy is traced to Adam, and the most detailed account is given of his mother and we just finished reading that from the Miriam, right? The book of Miriam, the 19th surah of the Holy Quran, right? It's given of his mother and of his infancy and boyhood. The genealogy, I'll read this again. The genealogy is traced to Adam, and the most detailed account is given of his mother, of his infancy, his boyhood. The parable peculiar to Luke have distinctively distinctively the human and seeking note. But Luke is careful to guard the deity and kingship, right? Kingship of Jesus called the Christ. Luke then, and that's in Luke, the first chapter 32nd through 35th verse, I believe. And Luke then is the gospel of the man, right? Luke then is the gospel of the man whose name is the branch, right? And we heard that in the Old Testament of the King James Version, and also in the Quran, in Zechariah, the 6th surah and the 12th verse, I believe it is, but certainly in Zechariah the 6th and 12. So Luke has 7 chief divisions: the evangelist's introduction, the human relation of Jesus, the baptism, ancestry, testing of Jesus, the ministry of the Son of Man as a prophet king in Galilee, the journey of the Son of Man from Galilee to Jerusalem, the final offer of the Son of Man as King of Israel, his rejection and sacrifice, the resurrection ministry, ascension of the Son of Man, and the events recorded in this book cover a period of at least 39 years. So Luke, in dispensation, it covers at least 39 years. Why is it important for us to know that? Because when you read the Bible, you have to read it as an authentic doctrine of our history, of Black history. You have to know that. You have to know that and ask what words in the Bible, or what in the Bible is Black. The very word in the Bible is Black, and the word became flesh and dwelt among us. So brothers and sisters, you have to understand that when you're reading and you're studying, you're reading your history, but you got to open your eyes and see it. Nobody can make you see it. You have to see it. That is indeed your history. And this world is falling. It's going to, you know what? It's going to, you know what they call the hockey shot. The hockey shot. It is literally going to, you know what? But we have to be in the right spirit and the right mind, that when it is given back to us, that we will establish the kingdom of God on this earth, not for some spiritual kingdom to come, because when you're dead, you're done, brothers and sisters. When you're dead, you're done. When you find salvation, you and I live like dead men and women already, right? All that we have belongs to Allah, right? And if we have to fight to the very end, we will literally fight to the very end, giving our very lives for what we believe. Isn't that right? If the Muslim believe in integration, we would have integrated America a long time ago. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? If we believed in it, if we truly believe in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, if we truly believed in it, then we would have given our lives a long time ago. But we know that the Constitution of the United States only represent the black man as 3/5 of a man. Black man and black woman as 3/5 of a man. And even during that time, the black woman wasn't even allowed the right to vote. And I believe that is in Section 1, Article 2, or rather Article 1 of the Constitution, Section 2. But it relegates us as 3/5 of a man. So it doesn't even count us as people, but it counts us as animals, livestock to be sold and used in the market. Because when the Constitution was made, it was made for whites, for the benefits of whites. It was not made for black people. And this is the reason why the Democratic and the Republican Party have a hard time trying to sell this equality jive, because that's what it is. It's nothing but jive, and we're not equal. Because if we were equal, we wouldn't be going through the things that we're going through now. Is that right? If we were equal, if the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment was really meant for us, then we wouldn't be fighting for the things that we're fighting for today. Isn't that right? But God is a righteous God, and he deals with righteous living. And politics is not righteous, brothers and sisters. I said politics is not righteous, brothers and sisters. Politics is evil, and politics is just a bunch of poly tricks. Isn't that right? And when a man trick you, right? Poly means many, right? Poly means many, right? Tricks, many tricks. And if the man trick you, right? When he trick you, get you to believe that you have rights, right? When he gets you to believe that you have rights, it's the beginning of your doom. Because we all know that no matter how long we've been in this country, we're still not free. We're not free. But today we have a chance for literal freedom, because this country is visibly falling. And the white man knows it. He knows it. And racism is all that was necessary to carry out this doom of America. And it was already set in stage by God himself. That's why when the white man pushed the system of racism, right? God tells us to hang on to righteousness, because hate can only destroy. Racism can only destroy. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? And so God allowed the seeds of vengeance to grow up that the white man has planted, and those seeds will destroy him. Isn't that right? These seeds will indeed destroy the white man. Let's see what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says in Message to the Black Man. Spirit, the teaching that God gave him, in page 146, right? Because it's time for prayer. So I don't want to take you away from your prayer, brothers and sisters. We have to learn how to, because that's what we're talking about, prayer, right? We got to be right. So when that time comes, God will be there for us. We said preparation at his meeting. I believe we read that the last time. Isn't that right? I believe that's what we read. So then it said the meaning. So we'll go to, now we're at 148. Page 148, we're almost done. Almost done. Page 148, which goes down to the meaning. That's the very end of that page. First, the cleansing of the body before asking to the most honored and wisest person in the universe, the Lord and King of all. None of his equal shows respect for him. Right? Let's read that again. First, the cleansing of the body before asking prayer to the most honored and wisest person in the universe. Person, brothers and sisters, in the universe. The Lord and the King over all. None is his equal. Show respect for him. He desires to show in words, in his prayer, that his words are what? Clean and coming from a clean heart. Should not that clean heart be a clean body? If one is offered clean water in an unclean outer surface of a glass, will he accept it? This is so with the Muslim. He believes in cleanliness internally as well as externally. Isn't that right? Let's read that again. Should not the clean heart be a clean body if one is offered clean water in an unclean outer surface of a glass. Will he accept it? This is so with the Muslim. He believes in cleanliness internally as well as externally. The different positions taken in prayer, brothers and sisters. Standing erect to address our superior is proper, and again, it shows respect and honor. The raising of the hands with the palms open in the same direction shows an act of surrender to the King of Kings and Lord of the worlds, and is coming before him with clean and empty hands. The hands, the most active members of our body, play parts of evil and good for the body. They sometimes bear witness for or against us. The Muslims declare that there is only one God, and none deserves to be worshipped except him. This is true. Almost all religious persons acknowledge that there is but one God who made the heavens and the earth. The Muslims declare in one of their prayers that they worship Allah, God, in the best manner, in the direction east, in which he turns himself toward the worlds, or rather towards the holiest of places. And one day the whole of the people of the world will be just as holy or holier. I would say holier. This position also has another meaning. It refers to the lost and found people of Islam. Before they return, they must turn to the direction with clean hands and hearts, bow in submission to the will of Allah alone with righteousness, that they may be welcome to take their place again among their own people. This shall soon be made clear to my people here. If the holy war be declared, no so-called Negro could return to his native land and people unless he or she accepts Allah as his God and Islam as his religion. O ye who believe, enter into submission, one and all, and do not follow the footsteps of the devil. Surely he is your open enemy. The Holy Quran, second surah, Holy Quran, the second surah, the 208th verse. Here the Muslim is about to begin his prayer. He has cleansed in all the exposed parts of his body, washed out his mouth, nose, and ears, standing upright with his face toward the holy city of Mecca, which is in direction of the sunrise. He lifts his cleansed hand and beside his head with his thumb toward the lobe, his ears, and declares that Allah is the greatest 4 times. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. And that nothing deserves to be worshipped but Allah. So that's from the message to the black man, brothers and sisters. If you can see, message to the black man, right? And if you want that book, you can call in and we'll certainly get it for you, brothers and sisters. Message to the black man. We're going to put that in there. And we see that this world is certainly falling, but we don't want to be with a sinking ship. Isn't that right? We want to be with a ship that is upon high water, because a sinking ship can't do anything but drown you. Isn't that right? But we want to be spiritually and physically in an area of safety, the ark of safety, which that only place for that is the ark of safety is God. Is to be in God and God to be in you. Isn't that right? And nothing will befall you that you're not ready for, right? Because all that we have on our person belongs to Allah God. So we can't give it to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. We're in the worst area that we could ever be in human history. And the third party, they can't help us either, the independent party. But we have to have God. Because as you can see, the nations are in a bitter contest for supremacy. Isn't that right? China and Russia right now are fighting and struggling to see who will be the leaders of the world. And they'll aid each other, and eventually they will fight each other. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? But God come that we would have life and have that more abundantly. So I'm very happy to bring that before you. We're not going to go any further than that today, brothers and sisters. But nonetheless, we're thankful to have this time to come before you, and we'll come before you again to talk about the fall of man. The fall of America, right? And America can't do anything but fall. Isn't that right? Can't do anything but fall. Because what you got, you haven't done the right thing. You haven't done the right thing. So when you haven't done what is right, and you have planted the seeds of violence, and those seeds will grow up. Those seeds will grow up. And those seeds grow up, they'll choke you out. Isn't that right? Whatever you plant will grow, brothers and sisters. Whatever you plant will grow, whether it be a physical seed, a spiritual seed, a psychological seed, a mental seed. Isn't that right? An emotional seed, whatever you plant will grow. And you will have to deal with that. You will have to deal with that. Once it grows up in the fullness of time, you'll have to deal with that. I pray today for all individuals, all families, all families. I pray for peace and unity in one way or another, that we will be united. That we will be united. That our personal lives will be united with those that we're broken away from. And if at all possible, we can be at peace. And also pray for our spiritual unity as well, and our intelligence, our maturity, that we grow up. And we'll be ready. We'll be ready, because once the fall happens, they're going to have to be masters. Isn't that right? Once the fall happens, they're going to have to be masters of the universe. They have to be masters of the universe. And I pray that we will be ready, standing steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of God, which is found in us, the same way that it was found in Jesus. We look around our community and wonder what is going on. We have to wonder what's going on. We know that the very thing that our community needs has been taken out. Our desire is to come to be righteous and to have it put back in, brothers and sisters. So I'm thankful to you, and I leave you. If I didn't say it in the beginning, I say it now to you. Peace be unto you, as we speak in the Arabic tongue. Assalamu alaikum to our brothers and sisters and everyone that's out there. Peace be unto you.